On today's video, update 35 is out, and in this video, we're going to give you the top 5 items that you need to know about this update. There are also 4 honorable mentions that are very important in this video. We're going to go over everything you need to know of update 35 instead of just reading through it, give you a quick summary of the good stuff. So, if you want to know what's up to date with Rise of Kingdoms, what's going to change, what are things that are going to change this game forever, make sure you drop a like on the video, sit back, enjoy. Hey there YouTube, welcome back to Gekko Gaming. Update 35 is out, Honor of the King. And before we begin, no, there are no new civilizations, no, there are no new epic commanders. We'll get to that too in this video. But for now, I'm a sponsored content creator by Rise of Kingdoms. If you enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. 60% of you are not subscribed to the channel. What are you waiting for? Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell, and come say hi in the comments as well. You guys know that I usually reply to all of you, take all of your feedback, whatever I can change and improve, I will. For those of you new subscribers, welcome. With that being said, if you're not subscribing, by the way, you're also welcome to the channel. Thank you for checking out the content. This update is a bit light. It only includes about 2 new things and optimizations all over the place. I want to start by saying, though, that we've been waiting for civilizations for way too long. We've been waiting for new epic commanders for way too long. The complete silence out of Lilith of not even saying what's going on with these is really annoying. And quite honestly, I would much prefer hearing from Lilith and them putting out a statement saying, listen, A, B, C, D happened, therefore new civilizations are going to take some time. But the complete silence on the subject, the complete disregard on the subject is just starting to get annoying. And I know a lot of us are looking forward for new civilizations, new epic commanders, more depth to that set of items in the game. And it's okay that it's not coming out as far as I'm concerned, as long as there is a little bit of communication. What's annoying me more at this point is not that the civilizations are not coming out or commanders are not coming out, but the complete zero communication about the subject. That's really bugging me. And Lilith, that's to you guys, and that's for you guys to step up and do. Either bring us our new civilizations like we thought that you guys are bringing, or tell us there's not going to be any. But it got to the point where I'm just every time I'm disappointed with update patch notes because this is no new commanders, epics, not legendaries, and no new civilizations. And the little trick you guys like to do, which is after the update, all of a sudden there's legendary commanders in the game which aren't in the patch notes, is great and all, I guess. Please talk to us. What's going on with new civilizations? What's going on with new epic commanders? Just talk to us. With that being said, it's been 3 minutes of a rant. Let's get into the video. Point number 1 in the top 5 points that you need to know about this update is King skill system. They're adding a brand new system in which the king has 3 new skills he or she can trigger. It doesn't say here how frequent they can trigger these skills or how long these skills will last, but these 3 skills are as follows. Number 1, attack skill. This attack skill essentially boosts the gathering of all the kingdom, but as a result of that, a part of the gathered resources will go to the king. I like very much this, but I also dislike it very much. The reasons why I like this skill is because the king tends to be a person who wants the welfare of the kingdom. There is a king rotation some more often than not, and this can cause a problem. Even though the king can be a fair person who will share distribute these resources accordingly during war or something like that, when people share this king title, who gets to proc the skill is gonna become an actual fight now. It's like each king gets to do it one time. How does it work, right? It'll cause a little bit of issues. And at the same time, what do you do with a king that is a little selfish? What do you do with a king that decides he needs to win a mightiest governor, so he uses these resources for himself? I do think that the king does a lot of work, and so getting resources is not necessarily the worst thing. I'm skeptical, but I like the tax skill. I do think it's going to be more positive than negative, but I did want to weigh also the negatives that can come with it. The second skill is called Imprison. Now, this one is the one I really, really like. Target a governor's city and lock its location for a set period of time. This skill can even be used in special circumstances against cities and other kingdoms. By special circumstances, you mean KVK. And right now, this is why I love this. If someone gets caught off of their alliance territory, and that someone wants is to be zeroed, you could, theoretically, lock their location to not allow them to teleport into territory, which would force this person to either use shields or eat the rallies. This, however, can cause an issue where if you have 4 kingdoms against you, which you do in Light versus Darkness, that's 4 kings that can do it consecutively, and you can really get locked in for a while. I like the skill. However, I do need to know what a set period of time is and what's the cooldown between the skills or how much they cost, because this could be really, really great to get people to be a bit more accountable for their mistakes, but it can also be a real pain. It can also be used inside your own kingdom. I guess Kingdom 75, who have a little bit of issues with some rogue players, can now lock those people out of certain zones for a little bit. I prefer this skill just because I can see potential in the war aspect of it, but we need to know what set period of time is and what the cooldown on these skills is, and what they cost, of course. The third skill is called a leader skill, and you choose a troop from your own kingdom within a range. What is that range? We have no idea. To serve as leader troop and increasing the combat attributes of all the nearby troops. So the leader troop is essentially going to buff up anyone around them, but what is within range? Is it within range of where the city of the king is? Is it within range of a certain circle like Osiris skills? This feels like an Osiris skill to me. I'm less of a fan of this skill. I can see where it can be decently useful, but I think it adds very little compared to the other two personally. These are the 3 skills now the king can proc. Let's move to point number 2 on the top 5 items on this update, and that is point number 2, the kingdom newspaper. They made a kingdom newspaper system which will come out 2 weeks after the update, give or take, gradually around all kingdoms. And essentially, every day, a new newspaper will come out, which you can purchase in the Lyceum of Wisdom. This kingdom newspaper records major events and interesting things that happen throughout the kingdom. And folks can give feedback on it by liking the articles or disliking them. So now you can kind of like help the algorithm learn what you prefer to see in the newspaper or what you don't. Purchase the newspaper means what? Gems? No, thank you. Gold? No, thank you. There's absolutely nothing in the newspaper that I would spend anything on. The only reason I would spend on a newspaper is if you allow other governors within the kingdom to create content within that newspaper that can be then served to the kingdom, and the money, gold, gems, whatever it is that comes out of that is partially distributed among the people who maintain this newspaper. If this is an automatically generated daily newspaper, nobody's ever going to read it. If this is a place where you can create content within the game, this is a great place for free-to-play players to earn gems, for low spenders to earn gems, for people who contribute a lot into their kingdom and to creating a culture within their kingdom can earn something out of it. That's what I would like to see out of this. If this is like a AI-generated article garbage thing, you're just going to get massive dislikes and nobody's really going to get it. Nobody's going to buy it. I'm not going to spend a single piece of resource on an AI-generated newspaper that records major and interesting events throughout the kingdom. That's my opinion, but this is something you should know about as a new system coming into this update. Point number 3 in our top 5 updates comes from top 5 points for you to know in the update comes from the 3rd section in this update, which is Ceroli Crisis and Ian Ballad's improvements. They made about 11 different changes in here. Some of them are more important than others. I selected 3 points here that are crucial, in my opinion, into all of this. I mean, if they added potions, we really don't care, honestly, for the potions. Tracking your healing stats, really, okay. There are 3 points here that are interesting, though. Chieftains in Ceroli Crisis, point number 4, event will, point number 4, I'll reread that. Chieftains in Ceroli Crisis event will only be activated once attacked by governors. Back in the day, as soon as you crossed that line, the chieftains would get activated, and some of them have a certain period of time in which you got to finish them. All of them, I believe, you got to finish within 5 minutes, or else they gain increasingly amount of damage and they just destroy you. And the moment you cross that line, they start moving towards whoever they aggroed first. If I understand this correctly, now you can reposition on the map, and only when you attack, that's when these guys will start working, and that's when the timer will start and all that good stuff. So I'm assuming that this will allow us to reposition on the map a little bit and prepare for the fight before actually starting it without it costing time. It happened to me more than once that we left a chieftain with like 1,000 or even 500 health, because in the last 1 or 2 seconds that we needed, because we repositioned on the map in the beginning, we lost that time. So this is a cool point, very important in the mechanics that's changing for you to know. Another good point in the mechanics that are very important to understand is in Ceroli Crisis event, governors can now vote to reset Chieftain and battlefield as a whole. This is great. Instead of having to back out of the event, restart it, get the 4 people you had earlier, and then everybody ready, and then go back into, you can just reset. The reason this is really great is that it happened to me more than once that 4 of us lined up. A small mistake happened, we wanted to reset, but when we created a new event, someone else came in, and now one of the 4 that were with us previously got locked out. Some folks like to create their own team of 4 and just make a separate chat, but this will allow you now as an alliance to, you know, pick 4 people, and those 4 people get the event done rather than someone make their way in and all of a sudden you're stuck out. I had to back out of an event one time because 3 of the 4 managed to get in and the 4th one didn't, and I felt bad about it. So I told the guys, like, listen, the new guy, I'm sorry, we were 4 before, you made it in here, but like, I'm not gonna leave the other dude behind because we made a mistake last round, right? So this is a great point. I like it very much. And the final point that is important is added completion time rankings to Ceroli Crisis event. This is cool. It makes more competition. It creates competition. Competition is always great. And rather than this becoming a burden, if there is even rewards for completing quicker, maybe people will actually like challenge themselves to compete for it. I can tell you that back in the day, in the 12 version Ceroli Assault, people really grinded down again and again to end up at that top tier to finish it fast. So maybe this will be the same for Ceroli Crisis. 2 thumbs up, competition is always great. Point number 4 in our top 5 points is out of the other changes, and it's point 2. In the Lost Kingdoms Past Glory event, if the current stage of the event does not end in 3 days, the system will force the stage to completion and begin the next stage. This goes directly at the rebuild of the Crusader Fortress, because the other events in Past Glory are like Light versus Darkness, which are already 5 days period, so it's not going to make it 3 days, is it? Maybe. I believe this means that now when you had 9 days to complete your Crusader Fortress, you could have distributed them however you wanted, and some folks never made it, let's say, to stage 3 because they couldn't get through stage 2, for example. This will now make it so that you have 3 days per each stage no matter what. Finish it quicker, great. Finish it slower, sucks. You end up losing a stage to go to the next one. I don't know how it's gonna work if, you know, you finished something early, then the next one is 3 days, or can you get the full 9 days? This essentially puts a time cap on each stage. It's important for you guys to know because it's a very important change. We need to make sure to finish every stage within 3 days. And if you can't, it's great because you can still get to stage 3, still exchange your sculptures in for coins and not feel bad that you couldn't get there. So great change right here. Our 5th and final point before we go very quickly into 4 honorable mentions in this update is 4.6. You can now directly skip the battle in Sunset Canyon through the formation screen, eliminating the need to go into the battlefield. Yes! I just said that on stream a couple of streams ago that I can't stand the fact that I gotta go click, wait for it to load, skip, click, wait for it to load, skip. Now you can just bang these out and get it out of the way. Quite frankly, in Sunset Canyon, 95% of the community just clicks next, click next, click next. For the freaking chests, which you win or lose, it doesn't matter. Very few people really play it to make it to the top. And even fewer people sit there and watch the whole thing to see what they did good or bad. So I like this very much. point number 5 of a mechanic that changed. We have very quickly 4 honorable mentions, and some of them are in honorable mention and not in the top 5 because they didn't, not enough information about them. A cool thing that changed as an honorable mention is in Ceroli, in Ian's ballads now you can skip the cutscenes. I'm always for it. If only Lilith would do the same, skip the cutscenes in the freaking tutorial in the beginning. I don't care how we got Markswoman. I don't care that the village is burning and get Boudica so you can now send, skip, let me in, period. It's always the same thing, so why can't I just skip it? This is great. Honorable mention number 2 is in other changes, fixed error regarding extra attributes on special talent section for Delane's Amulet and Pendant of Eternal Night. Basic equipment attributes are not affected. This one's a big boy, but the problem is I have no idea what it means. So I want to ask you guys, if any of you have a Delane's Amulet or a Pendant of Eternal Night with special talent, take a screenshot of it please now. Send it to me if you could with the stats in Discord, which is linked below. And we will track after the update what changed to see maybe they rounded up some attributes, maybe they rounded down some attributes. Very important for us to know because 30% of certain numbers might not work out very well. And maybe they rounded down instead of up, maybe they rounded up instead of down. This is an honorable mention, which could have been also a point if they exactly explained what it means. The next one is 4.4. In Lost Kingdom, you can now look up honor points earned by individual alliance members. Oh no. So I can't hide anymore. I mean, I'm not a big fan of this. What I do as an individual is none of my alliance members' business per se. At the same time, I understand why they do this. I don't know. It's a way to hold people accountable, but at the same time, it's also a way to essentially force people into doing certain things. What if for the first 2 weeks of Lost Kingdom, I couldn't really fight barbarians and now I can like crazy? Or what if in the beginning I could and now I can't? Like, it can cause some friction, but hey, it's a point that's worth mentioning. The final commendable point is after matchmaking for Osiris Invitation, or Osiris, Ark of Osiris is finished, more information including the overall rankings about both alliances will be available in the event stream. That's a very big, important point. But the reason it's an honorable mention in the last one is because this is as vague as it can be. How do you calculate overall rankings of a kingdom, of a team? How do you calculate what is more information? What is after matchmaking for Ark of Osiris is finished? Is this when you have an opposition and now you can see in that screen like more information about that team? If that's the case, then why question mark your opposition? You might as well just show the other alliance and that's it, no? This point is one that we'll revisit once it's out to see what it means. It's a commendable point, honorable mention, because there's not enough information about it for us to go deeper into it. But you should know about this. For now, let me know what you think about this update, about the video, about my comments, about what I think. What are other points in here that you would like to point out and think are more important than any of the things that I said? Leave me a comment down below and let me know. I'm Gekko. I'm out of here. Appreciate all of you for supporting the channel, and I'll see you next time. Peace.